I'm here with Ivy Meeropol, director of ASCII Gene. I guess I'll start with what brought you to this project. Like, what kind of had everything come together to make this happen?
Sure. The initial germ of the idea came from when E. Jean published an article, and it was an excerpt of her book that was in New York Magazine. And that's when she first told the story of what happened at Bergdorf Goodman with Trump. And I just was very struck by how she told that story. And I felt like I hadn't heard the way that she expressed and told the entire story of what happened. So I just was very intrigued by her, and I vaguely knew who she was. So I reached out. She was not interested in working on a documentary with anybody, but sometime after that, she watched a film of mine that a friend recommended, and she liked it. So she said, okay, she'd be willing to meet with me. That's how it all began. This was the beginning of the pandemic by now, and one of my first Zooms was with Eugene. And I got to know her that way. And seeing her like the background in her house just intrigued me. She's eccentric to say the least. And I just loved talking to her and getting to know her background when I realized she was like this formidable gonzo journalist and she'd had this whole career. I just started digging more. Now, she said yes pretty quickly after that to participating. But then I had to get through Robbie Kaplan, her attorney, who, of course, when you're in active litigation, the last thing you want is a documentary film crew hanging around. So that was tricky. And I had to really work hard to gain Robbie's trust as well and understand the parameters. And then there were numerous times where we weren't even able to make the film. I didn't know we'd be coming back to it. But I would say it eventually came together also when I found some funders, some women, mostly women, who came together to support the film because I couldn't sell it at first. I was trying to raise a budget through usual channels at first, meaning like the streamers, and I just could not get any traction. I think there was people expressed burnout from Me Too and Trump fatigue, and they just didn't know what the story would be. Is there more to the story than the attack at Bergdorf's? So I really had to go back and find people who believed in it and believed in me and to raise the money more piecemeal, which is always a challenge.
Well, I understand the lawyer's trepidation, but Jean doesn't appear to be someone that's she kind of in this documentary. She strikes me as someone like that gives zero F's about anything. So it's like, you want to do a documentary? Hell yeah, let's do it. What's it about?
Well, it's funny because she is impulsive that way. You're right, but at the same time, she doesn't love the attention, despite the fact that she is this outsized personality and she can be very comfortable with it and enjoy it. She is also on the flip side, someone who protects her. I guess I would say she lives alone. She's a writer. She works alone most of the time. And that's what she loves. She likes to just be in her cabin writing or doing research for her work. So I think the idea of being followed and her life shown in a more intimate way where she doesn't have control of it as the star of her show or whatever it is probably wasn't all that appealing at first. And I had to keep convincing her that people would care about her story. She's very self-deprecating and humble about that kind of thing. I said, no, Eugene, you're an inspiration. She doesn't see herself that way. So, which also makes her even more of an incredible character.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a spoiler because it's one of the selling points of this that she won both cases against Trump, but it's currently being appealed. And is there room, or does it look like there's room for a follow-up to this? Because if we know Trump, he's going to put his foot in his mouth or say something dumb and then just cause even more problems for himself.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a follow-up, but we might have to change the cards at the end, which would be great if she actually collects eventually. But we just don't know right now. We What we know is that she won twice, unanimously, two juries, federal court, and then he appealed and appealed. He's lost every appeal. He is now, and the first case is now at the Supreme Court. They haven't said whether they'll hear it yet. The second case is going to end up at the Supreme Court. So it's hard to say what's going to happen with that. I don't think he's going to stick his foot in his mouth right now because he doesn't want to lose the case. But he hasn't said a word about, well, it's true. Once this film comes out, we'll see. But he really hasn't said anything about her since the 83 million judgment.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like sometimes he can't help himself, but
That's true. And it's getting wackier and wackier. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? But it'll be into film comes out next week and then rolls out in theaters. And so it's going to be hard to ignore.
So there was a lot within the court, like during the actual court case, because he didn't really focus on the court case. He focused on the leading up to it and then just the result of each court case. But she's not my type or she's too hideous to rape, that's not a denial. That's I would have had she been pretty enough. But you didn't really lean on that. Did that ever come up in court?
Well, we did. We tried to show how absurd that is with the Anderson Cooper line, if you remember. Because he's pretty good at Anderson Cooper from CNN. We used the clip where he says, the president says she's not my type, which is usually what you say to a friend when you're talking about setting them up with someone, not what you say about someone who's accused you of rape. But yes, maybe that's a little subtle, but yeah, it's a complicated thing. I think it's pretty revealing that he would say that. And then even his lawyer kind of backs that up. I know. Yeah. So I don't understand how. I agree with you that it's not clear to more people that when he says that, he's basically saying, oh, but if she was better looking, maybe I would have.
Yeah. What were some of the parameters that her lawyer, like, that you had to stick within in doing this?
Well, Robbie was once I gained her trust, they didn't tell me they didn't give me any parameters. It was except when I wasn't allowed to film. And when we had been told, and then I was told a couple of times that we weren't going to get to make the film at all. And I was devastated and I'd been raising the money and I was like, and then we found a way back after the trials. We just didn't know, like when you have ongoing litigation, it was like, I didn't want to do anything to interfere with the most important thing, which were the cases. So that was a parameter. In terms of shooting, Eugene, for being careful to protect, not reveal where she lives, because as we see in the film, Donald Trump had no problems putting that out on Truth Social and trying to basically inciting people to go harm Eugene. That's what the threats were coming relentlessly at that point. So that was important to make sure we did not film her house or where she in a way that anyone could find her.
Yeah.
Which is so sad to have to think to be. But other than that, I was terrified because I did not have a lot of parameters. They put a lot of trust in me, but then I did have to show them when we had a rough cut, when we were close to finishing, I showed them the film and just prayed that they were happy with it and there was no glaring, like, obvious issues that would be problematic for them. And we were fortunate that there were not.
Have you followed up with Eugene as far as, like, because Trump's horde they're a curious lot, we'll say nicely, but she went through a lot of crap with them, which is what led to the second court date. Has that mitigated at all or lessened?
Yeah, it actually has been quieter, and that's really because Trump himself has not been defaming Eugene in the press or on Truth Social or whatever. He has not been saying anything about her since the 83 million judgment and once it went into the appeals process. So he's the one who activates them. Now, that said, I hope this isn't the case, but when the film comes out and there's more attention to it, some of those crazy people might decide to come after her again. We don't know. I hope that doesn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, ASCII Gene comes out in New York on May 22nd, Los Angeles on May 29th, and I'm guessing it's getting a wider release after that.
Yeah, we're so happy that many theaters are starting to book the film, even if it's just for one-off event screenings, but all over, because we're just starting to roll out. We really hope we do well. We think we'll do very well in New York City, and then we go to LA. We need a big turnout Memorial Day weekend in New York City, which would be great. But yeah, through the summer, we are gonna go to as many theaters as possible. And hopefully the word will spread. And because I really do believe this film in particular, I love going to the theater anyway, and I'm a filmmaker who's always saying, go back to the theater, watch movies in the theater. This one is really a communal experience. I've witnessed it over and over again at film festivals, pack houses, or people laughing together, crying together, and just really having an experience in the theater.
Yeah. I wonder if you change the name to Trump is the best and then get all MAGA to show up to the theater. Be like, what the hell is this?
Do wish that Trump supporters, or former Trump supporters especially, would be interested in this, especially women. I think there's a shift happening where the timing of this is right, because there's a lot of MAGA women especially who are, I think, realizing, wait a minute, this is not just locker room talk. He's in the Epstein files. He was found liable twice for sexual abuse. And people don't know this. Like, I think a lot of his supporters don't even, if they do know it, they just dismiss it as a lie, she's crazy, or they just don't know it at all.
You're much more optimistic than I am about that.
I have to be.
I think we're just circling the drain, all waiting to go into a dystopia, but that's me. I think your outlook's much more healthy for a future.
I have to hope, going through this process and being so close to it, and the unbelief against so many odds, when they won twice, it gives me hope. The justice system is still hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, I just want to get a movie recommendation from you. Just a movie that's either personal to you or a movie that's like, that's really good, and I wish more people would talk about it.
Oh, wow. Geez. Sorry. What did I just... I'm not going to pick a documentary. I saw the film Sound of Falling, which was last year's. It was a international, oh God, I'm not going to remember now. Sorry. I have to remember where I saw it to tell you. It's a German film. I'm just going to read you this because I don't want to mangle it. It's about 4 generations of women on the same farm in Germany's Altmark region, exploring themes of inherited trauma, patriarchy, and secrets across a century. It was phenomenal. And I think about it. Oh, right. It won the jury prize at Cannes. That's where I'd heard about it. Sound of Falling. It disappeared. I just don't know too many people who saw it, but I'm interested in generational trauma, interested obviously in misogyny and patriarchy. It's just a very, very well done film. I found it really powerful.
Excellent. Well, Ivy, congratulations on the documentary. Hope the right people watch it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people watching it, but with documentaries like this, it's important that certain people watch it and take something from it, I think, rather than preaching to the choir the whole time. But yeah, it's a wonderful documentary, and congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.